go. Hello. Oh yeah, we have a little bit of a reflection on your glasses from the light. We got some better lighting tonight, you guys, so hopefully you can see us. If you're new here, then thanks for being here. My name is Lindsay, and this is my husband Jess, and we're here every Tuesday night at 7:30, and we're answering questions that were sent in by you guys. The question for tonight, or the topic for tonight, was do you have any encouragement or support for older riders? So we're going to get into that. We'll let a few people jump on here with us. When you're here, if you can write a little comment, send us a wave, say hello, let us know you're here so that we can say hi and so that we know that you can hear us. That would be great. Tonight's question was sent in by Barbara Sander, and she said along the lines of, can you talk about riding for older riders, encouragement for older riders, because as we age, our aches and pains, balance, coordination, flexibility all changes, and would be great to hear your perspective. And then she also offered as her her biggest tip was to have a good horse, and she said she's been lucky enough to have a few in her lifetime. So that was cool. That was great for her to send that in. And I know that a lot of you guys have, this question has kind of resonated with you because we've had lots of comments and questions and remarks about this one. I know you guys are excited. And last week we got cut off, so we apologize for that, but we're gonna give it a go again tonight. So it looks like we have a few people on here now with us. That's great. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Marie. I like all of the old lady reporting for duty. That's great. Okay, so let's talk about what's Chuck and Shirley are saying. Who's the pretty bald face in the background? That was probably Curly. Who else had a bald face? Just Curly? That was probably Curly, who's got her special night that's owned by actually the woman that works for us in the barn. Her name's Lindsay. Okay, so do you want to start? You started last week with what your advice was for aging riders. Do you want to start tonight?
Well, I think my biggest thing that I hear all the time is, you know, I can't do it, I'm older. I guess my biggest advice is just do it at your own pace, but just do it. You know, if you want to work a reiner, it doesn't mean you got to kick one down there like the youth kids do. You know, just do it at your own pace and enjoy the ride. You know, or start a new event. You know, we have a few people that have never done show horses, never really done much with horses, and then, you know, all of a sudden as they are able to now, they kind of got into it. Nobody ever gets into it with the idea of, you know, I'm going to start riding a horse to go show a reiner or a cow horse, but they kind of progress with, I want to ride, and then, you know, maybe I'll go try a club show, and then I'll go from there. I think my biggest thing is just do it. Just, you know, start today. You know, get out, do it, ride them. Enjoy them for what they are. Doesn't mean you have to, you know, kick the young kids' butts all the time. Do it at your own speed and enjoy it for what it is. I think that's my biggest thing, is just do it.
Just do it. Yeah, so to sum up, Jess's advice is just do it. Do it anyways and do it now. Right?
Because we're talking about older people and
You're
fussing with
fussing
my
with
eyes.
your glasses.
I can't read anybody's comments unless I put them on, and then it
Yeah.
goes in there.
I think that aging riders, or people who consider themselves older riders, actually make up the bulk of, I don't know whether it's the entire industry, but make up the bulk of the shows that we go to, for sure. The vast majority of people that show at the reining shows and the quarter horse shows are women who are, what's the average age?
I wouldn't say all women,
The vast
but I
majority
would
is
say
women.
45, you know. kids are out of the house looking for something to do.
Yeah.
Kids are out of the house. They have a little bit of extra income. They can go do
A
that.
little bit extra income, a little bit of time to themselves, to go do stuff and reconnect with horses if they had them, you know, in their youth or something. But I think, I mean, what I'm trying to say with that is that I think a lot of the women that I see for lessons, they kind of think of themselves as being the old geezers, or, you know, there's a lot of jokes about it, but they actually make up the bulk of what is my lesson program and what is the horse shows. So they're not alone, definitely not alone in their struggles. They're not trying to do it, you know, they're not the only ones trying to do it with a little bit of arthritis or a little bit of, you know, whatever. We all have our things. But I think one of the things I see that makes a difference for people and the way that they look at it is there are some people that come that see the younger riders and are like almost grouchy or I don't know, guilty or not guilty, I'm jealous, or, you know, just it's a negative thing when they see the youth doing well and succeeding. And there are other women that I teach and older men that I teach who are really enthused and, you know, they find it life-giving to see the youth doing well. And I think that's a big thing. There are challenges at literally every age. You know, I think about some of the times some of my youth kids have been riding around and some of the older women that are riding are saying, oh, you know, it's so easy for her. Look at how easy it is for her to go do that. Or I wish I would have learned when I was younger. But I know what that child has been going through, you know, what they've been telling me, what's going on at school, or, you know, they're going through changes with their bodies. They've got, I mean, there's online bullying stuff now. There's, you know, their brains aren't fully developed to try to understand all the concepts that we're teaching them. There are challenges at literally every single age when we ride. And I think if we kind of get talking ourselves down at whatever age or whatever health condition or whatever it is that we have, that is what gets in our way more than anything else. Because we have riders who are getting very close to 80 who are still doing a really great job. We have riders that have probably lots of potential to do things, and the biggest thing that gets in their way is they tell themselves that they can't. They don't try and they tell themselves that they can't.
And that's every age group.
That's absolutely every age. So I don't know. I feel like it's not really fair for us to sit here when we haven't quite, or at least I haven't quite crossed over into that age group yet. And say, you know, it's fine, do it anyways. We all have our challenges, but I do think that is the best mindset to have, is we all have our challenges. Like, this is the body I got. This is where I'm at in my life when I'm getting to, you know, really pursue this as a hobby, and, you know, this is what I have to work with, basically.
And I think at the shows and around the barns, you know, the young people bring some stuff into the barns that, you know, they bring the, you know, they can lift more, they can push more, they can do whatever. But the mature people.
That's what we're calling them?
Yes.
Right now? Okay, yeah.
Prime time, select amateurs.
Okay, yeah.
Whatever you want to call them. But the mature people, you know, they bring a much more grounded, usually, brain to the whole mix. You know, and especially at the shows, you kind of can use both. I mean, you know, if somebody's maybe a little tired from being at the show, you send the youth kid to go run and get something. You know, you're smart enough because you're older.
You like to use that trick a lot.
You betcha.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, it can be done, but I think it gets back to that same thing, is it's more in people's brains that they can't than they really realize. Is there things that, yeah, a youth kid has more flexibility, less fear. A mature rider has more common sense and a little bit of hold back. You know, so you just work with that. Obviously, a youth kid, we can tell them to push a horse around a little bit harder. and they can get into them horses a little bit, but then we also have to tell them to watch their tempers a little bit and behave that way. And the mature people can do it, but they just do it a different way. You know, maybe we can't rely on their backs and their knees as much, and you know, but they can still do a good job. And I think one thing me and Lindsay were talking about today is they can enjoy it more.
Yeah, I think that for sure. I think that's the advantage to
You can appreciate the people at
being
the horse
wiser.
shows.
Yeah.
You can appreciate the better horses when you got them. You can
Yeah.
appreciate
The fresh air, the time to themselves, the time with the animals, the each little bit of progress, and especially doing things they never thought they would do. I think that's the one that really is fun. You know, where kids they're doing stuff they never thought they would do or they never even thought about doing, and you know, it just kind of they
The
just
kids
kind of
don't
do it
care.
and they
Yep.
keep going. Whereas adult riders, I think, when they go do something that they really have been trying to do, it's really fun. That's a really fun thing for us to be a part of too.
And do they have to ride a little different? Sure, they have to warm up. You know, a kid just jumps out of the car, hops on the horse, and let's go. But, you know, a mature rider, you know, just has to warm up a little bit. You know, their body, maybe they stretch a little bit. Maybe they,
Yeah.
we had one lady explain to me tonight that maybe some pharmaceuticals.
Maybe some anti-inflammatories.
we are not...
Yeah, we're not condoning
We're
anything
not
here. We're just saying
condoning magic brownies or
Preventative-
Tylenol or anything like that, but
yeah, preventative anti-inflammatory is not a bad idea. But what you were saying there, I think that's a really good bit of that's a good tip, is that having some kind of fitness program, and we've talked about this I think over and over again on these lives, having some kind of fitness program outside of your riding, especially as you age, is so important. It makes such a huge difference in your riding. I can tell, a lot of the times I can tell when somebody has started working out or somebody has started increasing, you know, the amount of weights that they're lifting or the length that they're running or something. I can almost always tell. People are shocked, but it does make a big difference in your riding. And, you know, as we age and we're less flexible and we're, you know, maybe a little bit more fragile, I think staying strong, having something where we're doing strength, endurance, and flexibility, kind of a combination of all of those things, that helps a lot, because riding can be hard on your body. Riding can be, I think, increasingly tough on your body if you're not.
and I think it's incredibly tough to only do it once a week or once every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
or take the winter off or any of those things. It gets harder to get back in the spring to ride. Well, especially if they don't do any physical or
Yeah.
a limited amount of physical fitness. But I think especially as the years add up, consistent riding, maybe not even working on a skill set or an event, but just riding, just doing something and always being out there and just getting stuff done. I think that's important, you know, and definitely helps keep the body limber in the certain ways. You know, I don't know too many sports, you know, that stretch certain parts of your body the way that riding does. You know, that heels down, toes up, and through the hips and all the joints and stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
engaging
different.
the lower abdominals is not something we do a whole lot.
Sure. So it's good to do it if you know, as much as you can.
Yeah.
I think even just like short rides and little rides is good for the people that want to keep doing it.
Yeah, and what Barbara said, like in her question, what Barbara said, having a good horse, that's probably the most important part of the whole thing, is having a safe horse that suits where you are at your whatever level you're at. I think that's the most important. That's got to be the most important piece, having the right horse, because it can be really discouraging and it can get dangerous really quickly if you don't have the right horse.
That's one sentence I hear all the time that I guess I don't know how to take it when people say it to me when I was younger, I used to ride babies all the time, and I used to do this and I used to do that. Well, that's something you do have to appreciate, is that not that you can't ride 2 and 3-year-olds, but their reaction time is faster. So maybe just chill out a little bit.
Yeah, and that...
Appreciate the nice broke horses. And
yeah, before we move on from that, because I want to talk a little bit more about keeping your mind on horses. We kind of talked about the physical part, but before we even move on to that, from a coaching perspective, when people come and they say like, oh, I'm an old lady, or, you probably have lots of young people who are making more progress than me. You probably get so tired of telling me the same thing over and over again. We don't. I don't. As long as somebody's there to try, as long as you're trying and you're making different mistakes, I know I'm going to have to tell you the same thing over and over again. I have to
tell the youth kids the same thing over and over.
Yeah, I have to tell myself the same thing over and over again. I know I'm going to have to say the same thing over and over again. Do not apologize for that. We're not watching you come in the door and going, oh, great, another old lady. I don't feel that way at all. I really enjoy the adults that I teach. Really enjoy them a lot. And if you get that vibe from your coach that they're annoyed or that they're, I think you probably need to find a new coach, because that's not right.
That's a big red flag.
Yeah, that's not cool. But I did want to touch on, so when we were talking before about the physical part and having some kind of workout, doing some kind of physical activity to keep your body limber, flexible, whatever. I also think it's important. I think it's important for anybody, but especially as we age. One of the things Barbara said in her question was about how the progression slows down. And I think keeping your mind on the horses in some way, shape, or form, if you're only riding once a week or if you're only riding a couple days a week, doing something where you're keeping your mind on the horses is really helpful. Like people who have a friend that they can go and clean stalls for, or people that, I don't want to say YouTube videos because there's a lot of bad information on the internet, but people that do horse related things when they're not on the horse have an easier time relating to the horse and picking up and carrying on in their lessons. 100%. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
People that are in it somehow, thinking about it somehow, even if it's not the same event, the same discipline, just something with horses, it does definitely make a difference. Do you have any other bits of wisdom that you would like to pass on? I mean, you have bad knees. You have like not a lot of cartilage left in your knees, no meniscus left in your one knee, right? What's your advice for anybody with knee
injections?
problems?
Lots of injections.
Use a mounting block. Yeah.
I use a mounting block every day. I mean, as a kid.
People are always surprised.
Especially in the Western discipline, everybody's, if you can't saddle them, you shouldn't ride them. If you can't, well, you know what? I mean, it's easier to get on.
Real
it's easier for
don't
me.
Use a mounting block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody just wrote on there about the NRCHA fraternity is on right now in Oklahoma City. There's a guy in there, Doug Williamson, and I don't even remember how old he is, but he got his senior citizen cards, I think, before I was born. And he still had like 4 or 5 of them in the top 20 or something. Like it was unreal.
222 or 224.
I mean, but he does it every day. He stays active. And don't get me wrong, this man is the Iron Man of horse trainers.
Yeah.
He is unbelievable. But I mean, he's amazing to watch because I mean, he's just a tiny little fella, and he's not real muscular anymore. But I mean, he just has good timing, and he goes and does it, and does such a great job with his horse. And those are 3-year-olds. We don't advise the 3-year-olds for everybody, but that man can. I'll have to look up how old he is. If he's not close to 80, I'd be shocked. But he, like for me, I have to kind of stretch a little bit in the morning more than I used to. I mean, I used to jump out of bed and let's go. Bring the 2-year-olds out first and let's get going. Mounting blocks are a huge thing.
Anti-inflammatories.
Anti-inflammatories.
Stretching.
I go get my knee injected, and you're going to start doing a hip here in a little bit, and
We'll just get the vet to do it. Okay.
There's been more than one joke with the vets about
we gotta be careful about that
but,
with all the people taking horse medications right now.
But I think, well, a very good friend of mine, he's had some knee replacements done here lately. And I think the biggest thing is be realistic with what your body is. You bring more common sense to the plate. I know for me, my wife will disagree, but I bring a lot more common sense than I did 20 years ago. 20 years ago, if they were in the cross ties looking like they're breathing fire, I took that as a challenge and said, bring it on. I want to try this one. Not so much anymore. And, you bring more common sense and let the youth kids do their deal, and they can be a little more, reckless.
No, we're not. That makes it sound like we're putting youth kids on bad horses. We don't do that either.
No, but what I did to myself, I just mean myself.
Yeah.
For me, it was a challenge. If somebody called me up and said they had something that they couldn't get trained, then
the young horse trainers can take whatever kind of behavioral issues they like,
but when the mature students get talking about the kids being so, it's not that they're not easier to train, like from the coach's point of view.
The youth kids are not easier to
sure
teach.
every time a youth kid, or not every time, but a good majority of the youth kids, when they come in and they bring their horse in on their Wednesday lesson, the first thing I have to say is, what'd you do this week? And see what ridiculous thing they tried. They're just
the
different.
Same thing across every age. It's a mindset, it's a mentality of
I enjoy
doing what you can with what you have and working hard at it and enjoying it. Celebrating the little wins is a really big one, I think.
From me as a coach, I enjoy the youth kids when they say what stupid things they did on the weekends and whatever, but I really enjoy more and more the mature students, some of the conversations we can have and the stories and the, maybe didn't appreciate those stories enough when I was 20, but, that's such a neat part for us. I like doing those ones. And of course we have such a great group of,
we do. We have the best. We have the best group of
in the reiners,
riders.
We call them prime time. At the quarter horse, we call them the selects, and we'll just call them mature. But
so let's just see what we have in here. Old nag here. Took a long time to get my phone on the other side of the room.
That's called
there's some
warming up and stretching. Going across the room is a warm up.
Anne is saying, I do think we need coaches that are willing to look a little deeper into technique. When we say we can't use our hips or our knees, we aren't kidding. Even with yoga, the strength may not be there, so we're grateful for the coaches who want to problem solve with us.
One thing I'll say too with the hips and the knees, my gosh, go to your doctor and explain that. Like, I know for me, the injections are huge.
Work on it so you can ride.
And that's, instead of just saying my knees don't work, hot or cold rubs,
what
wraps,
can you do to get them to work a little better? Because
physiotherapy, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's all, and it's funny how if our horse was off, we would have no problem calling the vet and getting them to inject their, their hocks or stifles or their, whatever. But then for us, and I did it for years. I walked around and grumbled and complained, and I wasn't miserable around my wife. I was always really nice around her. But
no, that's right. I didn't call and make the appointment for you because you were so crotchety. And I don't know when it's starting to creep up on you again and make the appointment again because you're getting crotchety. That never happens.
But we take better care of our horses half the time than we do ourselves, and it's long-term effects that really make the big deal. It makes your knees last longer, and it makes mobility bigger, and it just makes it work. Take care of yourselves. Whether it be physio, rubs, like at the shows, there's sometimes, I put rubs on my knees, and
I know what Anne's saying though here. She's like, you know, some people, some coaches only have one way of explaining what to do with your body. And if you can't do it that way, then, you know, they're kind of stuck. So having somebody who is able to problem solve and, you know, kind of work through it a little bit is good too, for sure.
Yeah, I didn't mean that you have to figure it out. I just meant do both, take care of yourself and figure out how to get it done.
Tracy thinks we're both very mindful and aware of all of our students. Oh, shoot. I'm glad you feel that way, Tracy. I'm glad you enjoy the quiet.
That's because Tracy doesn't ride with me, though.
What?
I just yell and scream and tell him to do it. What was it? Just do it. Do it anyway.
Just
and do it now.
Do it right now. Do it anyways. Okay, we're getting a lot of comments in here, and I'm missing a whole bunch of them. They're kind of skipping around on me here. Rose says if I'm running, something is chasing me. Yeah, I hear ya. Or like I could chase a ball, like basketball or something. That was more my jam. People who don't ride always think riding is not physical. That is a whole other Facebook Live. People that think that riding is not hard. People talk about this all the time. That is a whole other Facebook Live. We'll talk about that another time, Christine. Obviously, it's physical.
And anybody, if they got time, I'll look it up later, but I don't remember how old Doug Williamson is. But he has rode some great horses over the years. And just Google his name up. He has multiple great horses. There's just run after run. The guy's a machine. And it's really worth he's a crowd favorite wherever he goes because he's been doing it forever and everybody knows him and that part. But it is worth the watch him on horses. The old guy just has such timing. What was the documentary they did a few years ago with him in it? Down the Fence? Was that it?
Was he in that? I can't remember now.
He was in it. They were talking to him. Anyways,
my memory's shot.
Yeah. I don't care what discipline you're in. That's a cool one to watch.
Yeah.
Is Doug Williamson, cow horse. I don't know what would come up, but I'm sure it would be something like that.
Sally's saying sometimes when I'm sore, or not able to ride, I'll lunge my mare, brush her, just spend the time with her, hand walk, clean stalls. I love that point, Lindsay, about the advantages of doing those things with horses. Yeah, those are huge. Huge for
and a bunch of those
your
things
relaxation and enjoyment.
Well, a bunch of them are good physical things too, just to get out and.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What was it Melissa said? Melissa, it was so funny in the springtime. She was like, I gotta get out and ride. My arms are sore from grooming or something. It was like, she's like, I'm so out of shape. Grooming can be a good workout. Thank God for my mounting block. Yeah. Nancy's saying, riding for us oldie goldies is the best thing for our minds, body, and the depression that occasionally slips in. Sure beats crossword puzzles to keep us mentally alert. Oh